Can you hear the music?
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
it's pretty good.
Oh man, it gets me like right amped, like right fucking pumped to do a podcast. When I hear it, my loins are just on fire.
Yeah, I got you. A little pump up.
Yeah. That little break there, that's what gets me amped, right? Like, oh, All right, welcome back to another episode of On the Throne with Dick, and shout out to Senjin Boychuk. You can find him everywhere on the socials, for that incredible outro music. And today on the podcast, we're joined by the man, the myth, the legend, the underground king. The man of the underground, Cory Rockwell. What's going on, buddy?
Not so much, man. Thanks for the intro. I don't know if I'd call myself the underground king, but I'll take it.
The king of the underground. There you go. Yeah, no. What have you been up to? How's life? You been busy? What's happening?
Been pretty much sitting at home. Not a whole lot going on. I broke my ankle about a month and a half, 2 months ago now. So I was in between jobs. I was working in Alaska, got a good opportunity in Reno. So the plan was quit working in Alaska, have a week off, and then start my new job. Well, during that week off from getting old, just walking down my stairs, I broke my left ankle. So,
getting old's a bitch.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, man. I mean, if I was 20, I would have bounced right back. Out of all the dumb stuff I do and the dangerous job I have, walking down my stairs is what screws me over.
Yeah, we're getting old, man. It's like rolling out of bed and you pull a back muscle or slip a disc, whatever, rolling out of bed these days. It's like, oh, what the hell was that? You gotta lie, right? You gotta be like, oh, I fell at work. You gotta somehow limp your way in there and be like, oh, I fell at work. Catch some of that, disability money.
I know. That's what kind of screwed me over. I mean, I got hurt last year, and I got hit by some falling rock. It was on the clock though. So I, had short-term disability. The company I worked for was great. They helped me out. They raised money for me. So on the clock, getting hurt isn't as bad as, on your own at home.
Yep. I hurt myself at work a couple of times. The one time that kept me off, though, I wasn't wearing my safety glasses, and a bundle of pipe came in, and I cut it open, and those metal bands, I was standing over top of it, and it snapped back and hit me in the eye. Right.
Ooh,
luckily, it was the flat piece and not like the sharp side of it. But it snapped back and hit me in the eye. They made me go to the hospital. I would have gone. I would have just sat there and rubbed it until I could see again. But they made me go to the hospital, and the doctor was like, "Well, maybe I see something back there. Let's refer you to an eye specialist." I'm like, "All right, cool." So I went and I did that, and he's like, "Man, you got a detached retina." Right?
Oh, holy cow.
Retina's detached. Yeah, man. And so he's like, we can fix this. So it was like a month before I had my surgery. I got called into the office there. And I told him, like, man, a couple days prior, I told him, I'm like, hey, man, I'm going to need surgery, right? I have a detached retina. I hadn't been there 3 months yet, right? So I was on probation. So I come into work the one day and I looked at my coworker and I'm like, man, I haven't been here for 3 months yet. Like, wait, like I'm going to get fired for this, right? Like they're going to fire me because, I haven't been here for 3 months and I got to take time off. Right. Sure as shit, but the boss is like, hey, come up to the office. Right. So I come up to the office. There's a lawyer from corporate there.
Holy
right?
cow.
I'm like, oh shit. So like, they made me, they talked about all this stuff and they made me sign a bunch of shit. And, I hadn't been there 3 months yet. And, it's wild when they give you a severance package when you haven't been there for 3 months yet, right? Here's a severance. Here's like 6 months worth of money. Get out of our sight. Looking back, I was like 21, 22. I could have said no and taken more than what I got, right? But whatever. I took the money and ran. I laughed. I'm like, fuck, 6 months? Fuck yeah. So I took it. I ran. I bought my wife's engagement ring. And we're from where Toronto is? Do you know anything about Canada?
No, not really.
So we're from out east. So we live out west. So we went back home for a couple of weeks. We went for a visit. I was hanging out, and then I went back, and then my surgery was scheduled. I went in for my surgery. I had the eye thing. That's why my this eye here looks like it's closed a little bit more.
Mhm.
And people always bring it up in my videos and stuff like that. The buckle actually keeps the eyelid dropped a little bit, right? So yeah, I had some time off, and I asked the wife to marry me in that time, right? You know, and well, it was more of a like, what kind of ring is this? What kind of ring do you want it to be? Engagement ring? Well, I guess it's an engagement ring. We're engaged now, right? There was no like fantasy proposal or anything, so yeah.
Dude, what a freaking cool story, man. And I so the bundle hit you, and you, like you said, you were more than likely just going to kind of shrug it off. But I mean,
Yeah,
that, you got lucky, because had you not done that, I'm sure that could have ended up worse for your eye for sure.
probably. But the funny thing is, the eye doctor said, I don't know if I should share this. The eye doctor said, he's like, that kind of looks old. It looks like an old scarring. But
Oh,
he's like, for this, we'll just say it happened at work. I'm like,
yeah,
all right, sure, why not? There's a number of incidents in my life that I can think of, but none other than my brother whipping a candlestick at my face, and it hit me directly in the eye when I was younger. We shared a room. I was annoying him. He whipped it at my face, hit me in the eye. It could have happened then, right? But retinas, detached retinas, man, simple as, you know, straining when you're shitting, sneezing could detach your retina. You know what I mean? And so it's easy stuff. And you know, if found early enough, they can restore most of your vision. So
I gotcha. Dude,
yeah.
that's definitely interesting. I didn't know you can get, that can happen so easily
Oh
just by like
yeah, it's
sneezing
crazy,
or
man. Yeah, it's insane. Yeah,
yeah.
man.
And then you also mentioned getting the severance package. When I got hurt last year, and I've been hurt before, but not to that extent. When I got hurt, a huge rock hit the back of my head. It broke 3 ribs, fractured my lower T8 spine, and then fractured my shoulder. Um,
From hitting the back of your head.
yeah, so it fell from probably 20 feet up, probably a basketball sized rock. It basically just grazed the back of my head. So if I was standing just 2 inches, further back, maybe even an inch, it would have been more of a direct hit and compacted my spine, and I'd either be dead or paralyzed right now.
Wow.
But yeah, that was. I mean, we've all kind of, in underground mining, we all kind of get hit by little, rocks here and there. For the most part, we don't say anything. Because one thing about mining is your bonus your bonus is also dependent on not just production, but safety as well. So if one person gets hurt and it's a reportable incident, then I think it's, it depends on the mine, but that's like 25% less that you're going to get now. So it kind of, I don't agree with that, because it kind of encourages people to not report stuff.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I don't want to be the guy who makes people lose thousands of dollars because I got a little cut or something. I mean, most of us, unless you have a limb detached from your body, for the most part, we just shrug it off. Don't say anything. Obviously, there's times like when I got hurt. You can't hide that, and I wouldn't even attempt to hide it. I mean, I couldn't even walk. My arms were just like frozen. The back of my head was bleeding. I ended up. They transported me from the mine to the local hospital in Urrington, Nevada. And then we didn't know the extent of my injuries. I could barely kind of walk. Like I said, I was like just stuck in this position. They did a few x-rays, and then they came back and said, we got to get you out of here now. So they called a care flight from the trauma center in Reno. They came to pick me up, and then got a free helicopter ride to Reno. And that whole ordeal was pretty exciting. I've never been in a helicopter like that before.
Yeah. How was the view from the air?
That's the thing. I was strapped into a stretcher, so I couldn't even see nothing.
Oh, that
I, I,
sucks.
I was attempting to try to see something, but yeah, it's you have like 2 or 3 people back there. I don't know how many people were back there. They're checking your vitals and making sure you're still alive. And so pretty much it was a free ride, but couldn't see anything. All I could do is hear it pretty much.
Hell yeah, man. That's crazy, man. I seen your videos, when you're walking around and you're poking the roof to see for weak spots and stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's how you check to see if there's any falling rock or anything, right?
Yeah, we call that scaling. So we have just picture a regular like 2 inch like long PVC pipe, only it's aluminum, and it's got kind of a sharp point at the end. Um, you so pretty much every heading, and a heading is pretty much like a tunnel. Every tunnel, they got to have scaling bars. We have different length bars. You can have like a 3 foot one, 8 foot, 12 foot, and I don't know how high they go. I think 12 feet might be about the max, but um, pretty much it, you want to scale your way in to a heading, and then if you have the time, scale your way out, because when you walk into a heading, just because it was good walking in, the earth is constantly moving, rock is constantly changing. It doesn't mean it's going to be the same condition when you come out. But so pretty much scaling is just poking at the walls, which we call ribs, and just trying to get any loose rocks or dirt to fall off. If you can get it off by hand, then we're encouraged to try to get it off. That way, somebody else who comes in and may not be scaling, so they don't get hurt too. But yeah, scaling is a big part of underground mining for sure.
Hell yeah, man! Like, and is there just a guy that's just dedicated to scaling? Like, that's his full time job, or do you kind of all take turns doing that?
No, there isn't like an official scaler position. If a haul truck goes down, or if somebody's equipment goes down and they have nothing to do for the day, they'll give them a scaling bar and say start there and end there. Just like a long ramp. So
It's like
he'll
a
do
make
that.
work thing.
What's that?
Like a make work thing, like, hey, we got something's down, nothing's happening right now. Here's that bar, go do the scaling.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we have scaling bars all over the mine. Every mine's the same. They're just scattered everywhere. There were times where back when I was kind of newer, I was driving a haul truck, and sometimes you can like see, okay, that's definitely loose. So if I saw something that looked like an extreme like hazard, I'd pull over, chalk my truck. I'll call the nipper, get a scaling bar, or chances are there would be a scaling bar close by. If there was, you would just grab it, and then I would just poke it, and sure enough, a bunch of rock fell. So scaling is pretty much everybody's job. It's all of our responsibility. You're doing it not just for yourself, but for your fellow miners. And yeah, so we all just kind of scale throughout the day in our areas.
That's pretty cool, man. I like that. That's really, that I love that the video you showed on that too, right? Like that was, like you're poking at it, and I think some rock fell down too when you did it. It was pretty neat.
Yeah, are you talking about the video where at the end I got that huge, like big piece of rock to fall down?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's actually that video should. I hadn't even planned on doing that, and that video is my highest viewed video. I forget the exact number, but it's between like 5 and 6 million views. And I was working. I mean, I got a couple videos that have like 1 million, 2 million, but 5 or 6 million. It's like I think maybe 6 million now, but that video shouldn't even exist. I didn't even plan on doing that. I was working overtime, and me and my buddy had to go into a heading, take care of some stuff, and it was the end of the day. I was already worn out, and I was ready to get back in the truck and leave. And he goes, "Hey man, why don't we make a scaling video?" And this was kind of back when I first started making videos. So I was like, it's late. I want to get out of here. And he's like, no, come on, let's go do it. So he encouraged me to do it. He filmed it, and it ended up being like one of my most popular videos. So that was kind of
hell yeah.
Cool.
One of my biggest videos on TikTok is I was cleaning out a rig tank. I work on oil. I work in oil and gas, and I was cleaning out a rig tank. All the mud and shit left over from drilling and whatnot. You clean it out, and I think it was Brian actually that was in it, I believe. But so I was squeegeeing it. We were cleaning the tank, and we were almost done cleaning it. There was a little bit, and I'm like, I pulled my phone out. I'm like, man, you gotta film this for me. And it's I thought I was funny in high school, so now I clean rig tanks for a living, right? And I was squeegeeing it out in there, and the sound was like oh yeah, I got a big stiffy, right? And it's like, I've been around the world, I've seen a million girls, right? And I was just doing that, and I usually don't post around that time, but I was like, whatever, it's kind of late, but I threw it up anyway, and it got like 1 million views within, oh geez, like 12 hours or something like that. I was like, oh wow, good stuff. And I threw it up on Instagram, did really well over there too. And yeah, man, people like that shit, like, we're making videos to laugh and whatnot. And we usually are joking around with things in the background, but like that we're never showing the work, right? But
Yeah.
so when we do show the work, it's like, oh man, finally, yeah, there's the work, there's what he's doing, right? And or she's doing, right? And they love that. People love that. The algorithm pushes that shit, right? So
Yeah, I think so. And I wasn't like big into social media before TikTok. I hadn't even really planned on doing this. Long story short, years ago, back in the day, my partner who I worked with, hanging vent bag and doing utilities, in between jobs and on our downtime, he'll be in the driver's seat, I'll be in the passenger seat. We're kind of catching a nap or just relaxing, listening to the radio, and I'll just constantly hear him swiping different videos, and I don't know when TikTok first came out, but I don't know if it was fairly new back then, but it was definitely fairly new to me because I didn't know what it was. And so he just showed me a few videos, and then he typed in underground mining to see if there were any underground mining videos, and there really weren't. You always got a few videos that people post, probably without permission, and it's just kind of a shaky camera. They're not explaining what's going on. Heavy metal music, which most people don't like. I got a story about that too, but so pretty much he just kind of I would make fun of him, and he told me, dude, just download TikTok for a day in your downtime, just scroll through it, and be honest. At the end of the day, you tell me if you're hooked or not. So I did, and sure enough, I was hooked. It's just so entertaining to just constantly swiping and seeing different funny videos, and I mean, you know how it is. But so I pretty much, I looked up underground mining too and couldn't find a whole lot of videos. So he told me you should start making videos because he knew I was kind of like into that type of stuff. And I told him, I mean, I don't know, we're not really allowed to. And that's why my channel kind of blew up, is because traditionally in mining, you're not allowed to make videos. You're not allowed to upload social media.
Same with oil and gas, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I understand the reasoning behind it. A lot of mines are publicly traded companies. So one major concern is they don't want potential investors to see some, a shit show or something like that. And then they were also worried about MSHA. So for most civilian jobs, we have OSHA. For mining, we have MSHA. And MSHA is pretty much just the federal regulatory agency. They stop by, they do audits, and it's a good agency. A lot of people are, kind of hesitant when they're around. They don't want to talk to them, but MSHA is there for us because a lot of major companies, the higher up you go, the greedier they are. It's a hell of a lot cheaper for a company to kill 12 miners a year than it is to spend the millions of dollars on shotcrete or, this, that, the other. So MSHA is there for our safety, but I've always supported them. But so I actually reached out to MSHA and I asked them, hey, my name's Cory. I work at such and such. I'm thinking about making videos. And so I had gotten MSHA on my side before I went to my mine manager. And I went to my mine. Yeah, and I just got lucky. People ask me, like, how are you able to do this? Because there's, tens of thousands of miners, and I'm the only one doing this. And I tell people, there's nothing special about me. I was just the first idiot who asked if I could do it, and I had a super cool mine manager, and he let me start doing it. And it was a very controlled thing. Like I couldn't just film, half naked miners dancing with no safety glasses and stuff like that. I had a video approval panel. I had 4 people from safety training and bosses. They would have to approve each video before I uploaded it. And then I got a hold of a former MSHA inspector who would also watch my videos, who I'm still in contact with now. I'll still send him videos, and he'll check them out, make sure everything looks good. There's only been a handful of times where somebody wasn't wearing safety glasses or something was going on, and 3 of the guys didn't catch it, but 1 did. So I either have to go back, edit that out, or just do something. But yeah, I was just the first guy who asked if I could do it. I got super lucky, and my channel blew up. And like I tell people, people don't watch my videos for my boyish good looks. They watch it for mining videos. So I try not to post a lot of too many like personal life videos. I'll sneak one out every now and then. But yeah, it's been a wild ride, and I got super lucky. The last 2 months I worked at would let me make videos. So it's been awesome, dude. It's been awesome making videos. And my original goal was to just get people interested in mining, because if you don't live in or around a mining town, you don't know anything about mining.
Yep.
When I lived in Los Angeles, where I was born and raised, if you asked me where this G-Shock watch came from, I would have probably said it was grown in the field. Like I didn't know about mining. It's just not an industry that's down there. And when I was 20 years old, I knew I wanted to work hard. I wanted to make money. I wanted an honorable, respectable career. But the only thing around me was Hollywood and movies, and I didn't want to do that. So pretty much through my channel and my videos, I'm trying to reach the 20-year-old version of myself to show them, hey, you don't need to go to college for 4 or 6 years. You don't need to go into debt for the rest of your life. You can start making $100,000 a year at 18 years old, right off the bat in underground mining and surface mining as well. Underground definitely pays better, but yeah, I like getting kids interested in mining and showing them that this is an awesome career. It's a blue collar career, and I get hit up all the time. People asking questions, asking for advice, recommendations. I try to help people as much as I can. As my channel has grown, it's getting a little bit harder to reply to everybody, but I definitely try to.
Yep, man. I see you. You're very interactive, man. You keep that engagement, or like you said, you try to, and I'm right there with you. Like I'm not as big as you. I think you're double the size of me right now, and like it's hard. It's hard for me. It's hard to engage back with everyone, and I try my hardest. It's not as easy as it once was, but I work over 100 hours a week, and then I do the podcast. I make content. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I got all this stuff, and I very much filled my plate. When I look back on this period of my life, and 30 years from now, I'm going to be like, man, I left no stone unturned, right?
Yeah.
And quite literally what for you, right? No stone left unturned, yeah. But so I left no stone unturned, man. I was very busy. I kept my plate full, and we did the best we could, but yeah, it's hard to get back to everyone. And then not only that, is I'm also on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, right? So
Yeah.
I'm I'm almost as big now on Instagram as I am on TikTok, right? So it's been a lot of fun, man, and I'm right there with you, man. Engagement's key, right? I heard something, I see you go live too quite a bit, which is good, because your videos, they'll get you followers. People will be like, yeah, they'll make people interested in what you do. When you go live, you're building a community, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You're gonna have the same people that come into your live or look forward to your lives. And social media has been incredible, man. Like it's all about community building. And how many people do you think you've got into underground mining or mining in general? How many people are in the industry because of you now?
I honestly couldn't tell you. At one of the last mines I worked at, one of the bosses, we'll talk every once in a while, just shoot the shit, and he told me to this day. So pretty much in their new hire class, every new hire class, they'll get all the new hires in a circle and bring in all the the shifters, the bosses, the mine manager, introduce everybody, and he says, every couple of new hire class, there's somebody in there who says, oh, I found out about this place because of this guy's TikTok channel, Cory Rockwell. And little do they know, that's the mine where I made most of those videos. But yeah, I don't know. I'd like to think I'm having a pretty decent positive impact on the industry. The mining industry as a whole has a workforce shortage, which doesn't make sense, but we do. And I've tried telling people that's because nobody knows you exist. Unless you live in Winnemucca, Nevada, Elko, Nevada, here in Reno. So I live in Reno, Nevada. Most of mines are 2 to 6 hours east of me. Most people in Reno have no clue that there's mining in Nevada and mine. So I just if mining companies weren't so damn secretive and could put the industry out there more, they wouldn't have such a hard time. But yeah. But yeah, I mean, as far as how many people I've gotten in, I know I've gotten in quite a few, but I couldn't even venture to guess. I mean, I would hope that there's a lot of people who I have no idea about who got into it, and I'm sure there are. But yeah, even if I could just get one kid interested in it, or one dude who's got a family who needs to make more money, and it helps them, then my job's done.
That's huge, man. Same oil and gas, very secretive, right? Like very secretive. They don't want you to know anything, see anything, and that's a downfall. That is actually like a red flag, I guess you kind of say. Not a red flag, but it is going to be it will be their downfall if they don't change, and they're working hard to change that by doing things like allowing myself and other oil field creators to show what we do and have a good time doing it. Like as you said, mining's got a major labor shortage. Oil and gas, same thing, major labor shortage. I think the whole world's in a labor shortage right now, coming out of COVID. It's been like that for a couple of years now, and I made that video. It was like, boyfriends and girlfriends will disappear, but this is for life. And then it goes to another screen. It says extreme exhaustion from labor shortage, right? And I've made some videos about being short-handed and how we go about that and how tired we are because of it, right? And it's
Uh-huh.
funny. And when I first started, when I first started, I I was just making videos in the truck. You couldn't see logos. You didn't know where I was. You just tell I was in a truck, right? And then one day I made a video about the trucks, right? The vac trucks and stuff that I work on. And I asked my boss, because at first it was like, hey, don't post anything with our logo on it, right? I asked my boss, I'm like, hey man, this video is kind of funny. I think it could help, And I said it to him, and he said, let me send that to my boss. Let me send that to the big guy, and I'll get back to you. I'm like, all right, cool. So a week goes by and still nothing. So I message him like, hey man, any word on that video? He's like, you know what, man, go ahead and post it. Like, let's just see, right? And so I posted the video, and it had like 60, 70,000 views in a couple hours. It was like, fuck yeah, man, that's awesome. And that's kind of when the whole ride really, really started. I went from just making videos in the truck, having a good time, to like, hey man, we're doing something here,
Yeah.
and it got us work. And it brought people in the door. We talk about it all the time. Blue collar has a major marketing issue, right?
Yeah, absolutely, dude.
Yeah, it's horrible, right? They're major marketing issue. You know what? People see the job ads and they think, oh, that sounds kind of like it wouldn't be fun. I don't want to do that. The money's right, but I don't want to do that. Right? They see your videos, educational. Okay, maybe it is something I'd like to get into. Right? Same, oil and gas. Look at them. Look at them. All that. That's cool. That's fun. A couple of years ago, um, I was going to leave the patch, and I was going to get a job where I can be home more often. And by more often, the schedule was like 6 weeks on and 3 weeks off, right? So it was on a Great Lakes shipping vessel, right? I was going to work on a boat that carries iron ore and seed, like vegetables and shit like that, right? And carried across the Great Lakes. And I was gonna do it. I applied for it. I got the job. It was just COVID. COVID had put in a little bit of a kink in my plans, because like nobody was quitting, right? Nobody was quitting. But in the meantime, I knew nothing about the job. So where did I go? I went to TikTok. I found Freshwater Cowboy. He was on the podcast last year. I found Ryan McLean, not Ryan McLean. Ryan, I can't remember his last name, but that was the first guy I saw, and
Mhm.
he is like the guy that makes he'd be the you of the merchant marine world, right? He'd be the you, and he's the captain of a boat, and he made videos. And so I went down the rabbit hole of merchant marine, right, of these vessels, and I'm like, fuck, I want to do this job. It's not just a job, I want to
Exactly,
do
dude.
this, right? Fuck, like they have this thing, how the deckhands get off the boat when they park, right? The deckhands are the first off the boat, so they can tie it off, they can anchor it off, right? So there's this little crane thing that swings out over the side and drops. Guys get hurt all the time. The laborers, the deckhands, get hurt all the time. They can slip and fall. It's just one little stirrup, right? They put their foot in there and they hold on for dear life as they're swung out and dropped as the boat's still moving. It looks so cool, but I was pumped to do that. I'm like, man, I got to do that, right? And then they use a crane on board to put like a loader inside the vessel to scoop out any leftover materials. I'm like, I want to do that. And then you start like you learn about deckhands and watches, and then you get into the cockpit, or the cockpit, I guess you could call it, where the captains are and the first mates, and you start watching what their jobs are doing. And man, I'm like, dude, I can't wait to get into this and like grow with this company so I could be that guy someday, right? And like the videos, man, the videos did that for me, right? Like finding guys that made the videos and were on the ships making the videos, they made me want to be there more than just, I need to make some money, right? And they made me want to choose that as a career. Shout out to the Freshwater Cowboy. That guy's a gem. And but same with what you're doing, man. There's probably people out there that I'm like, man, I really want to get into mining, right? Or oil and gas. And then they start applying, they get the job, they go down the rabbit hole of TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, and they see what we're doing, and they're like, yeah, that's cool. I gotta get into this, right? I want it to be more than just making money, right? And we're the guys they go to for that, man. And that's so cool.
Yeah, dude, it's I consider it an honor because I mean, more or less, I feel like, and I've been told, like I'm pretty much the face of underground miners.
Yep.
My videos are seen on every continent. They're popular in Australia, different countries in Africa. So I'm basically essentially representing underground miners, and I knew that going into it if my channel got big, and I knew it would get some traction because there's no other place to see videos like that. But yeah, I try to be the best dude I can. I try to do things the right way. And what you're saying about people finding out about different industries because of social media, people also want to be able to relate to the people. Like when I think of that career you were just talking about, I don't even I would picture older dudes with beards, like I've never seen I've never been exposed to videos like that. And I know for a fact a lot of people picture underground miners as old guys with beards, and we're just sitting there with a pickaxe all day. And
Yeah, that's what I thought it would be, right?
yeah, and through
I hope.
exactly that's what people actually say.
Yeah.
And I like to think I'm a relatively normal dude. Like I'm just a skinny kind of nerd, socially awkward. I got neck tattoos. I got a face tattoo. So like I want people to see that, like what we look like. I never wanted my channel and my videos to be me. I wanted to show and represent us, like underground miners.
Hell yeah.
Just at the time, yeah, and at the time a lot of guys didn't want to be on camera. It's a lot easier for me to record myself because I'm always with myself than it is to record other people. But I definitely have a few videos when I got the opportunity to. I wanted to represent miners. And I just recently started a series called Meet a Miner. And pretty much anybody I know who I've worked with who is in underground mining or surface mining, as we get the time and the opportunity, it's a quick 60-second interview. I ask them how they got into mining, what they like about mining, just a couple, 4 questions. And I got friends who are Black, Asian, white, Hispanic, men and women. I if we're being honest, a 14-year-old Black kid can relate a lot better to a Black man. So it's important to me to represent all of us. It's not just a white-dominated industry. We've got people of all ethnicities. At one of the mines I worked with, we actually had a transgender woman. And I definitely want to get some females in that series as well, because I've been asked countless times, can females do that job? Do females work there? Now, granted, there it's obviously majority men, but there are definitely quite a few females in mining, and there's nothing down there that they can't do that a guy does. But it basically, what I'm trying to get at is, it's important to me to, I just want to show the diverse, just the diversity in mining. So I got a lot of friends who are going to be in the videos coming up here pretty soon. I live in Reno. Most of them live couple hours east of me. But whether I go there or they come here, a lot of times they come to Reno to go grocery shopping. We'll hook up for 5 minutes. I'll make the video and then upload it. But yeah, that's always been pretty important to me is representing, not just me, but representing us and our industry. And I want people to be able to relate to the people in my videos.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I do the same thing, it wasn't about me. It's about us as an industry. Thinking back to where this all started, right? I wanted to see videos that I could relate to. Same way you just said, right? I wanted to see videos I could relate to, and there wasn't much oil field content out there when I started, right? So I started it. I made content and continue to make content that I want to see, right? I'm making content that I want to laugh at when I'm feeling down, right? And when I'm missing home and stuff like that. So I made that, and I can think of a fuck ton of content creators that have come along the way to make this industry amazing for us, right? The oil and gas industry. There's me, Lane Borley. Lane Borley is incredible where he's taking his content to. He's actually getting, his company's actually taking him and flying him out to Houston, Texas, to the head offices, the main offices, and he's getting paid for this now from the company, which is amazing, insane. You got, me, Lane Borley. You got, there's a fuck ton of them that I can't think of. I put myself on the spot. There's a fuck ton. If I'm not saying your name, I'm sorry. But Big Oil Mafia, Big Oil Mafia is doing what you said, Meet a Miner. Big Oil Mafia is highlighting oil and gas workers. He's giving them a little profile. He's not meeting up with them. I bet he would if he could. But we're always on the road. We're always on the go. And he's done a fuck ton of oil field workers so far. We're like, hey, name, age, what he does or she does, why they got into it, why they keep coming back, right? What keeps them coming back, and then Lucille. Lucille is a female rig mover, right? Tiny thing. Rig moving is like, you picture these big 300-pound guys with arms the size of like a tree trunk that are moving rigs. No, that's not Lucille at all, And then, man, it's been incredible. It's been one hell of a ride, man. And you know what? Like I think we're doing great things, and I think we still got a long way to go, right? And what I was gonna say is you're only on TikTok, right?
Yeah. Well, I have a YouTube account, same name. It's just like you were saying earlier, running social media, just one social media can be a full-time job.
Yeah.
I have an Instagram, I have a Facebook, but those are just, like family, personal things. I don't upload a lot of mining videos. TikTok is my only public social media. I have an Instagram, but again, it's kind of like or YouTube. I mean, I have uploaded some mining videos on YouTube, but just running my TikTok channel is a full-time job, replying to everybody. I can't even imagine having my YouTube channel being equally as popular, which is not. I mean, I have like less than 100 subscribers on there. I just never really got into it, which I wish I did, and I may still, but it's tough to run one social media. I mean, I don't know how you do as many as you do, to be honest.
It's tough, but here's what I'll tell you, what I tell everyone that doesn't have an Instagram. Get an Instagram account, man. It's worth it. Trust me. Start throwing your videos on Instagram, man. I told Murphy a few months ago, man, get on Instagram, right? Like if the TikTok ban does end up happening, right? You want to be over there anyways, but like even if you just do Instagram and TikTok, there's a lot of people that have Instagram that don't have TikTok and vice versa, right?
Yeah.
You'll have a whole new audience over there. And when I tell you that most companies that want to sponsor people, right, they're over on Instagram. They're not over on TikTok. You'll get a lot of shit like, hey, man, this is amazing. Hey, would you like an affiliation or a sponsorship deal or whatever, man? Like Instagram's the place to be. And as an American, you'd make money over there. You were telling me the other day you don't make any money off this, right?
I'm not really. And TikTok is kind of famously known for, creators not making a lot of money. From everything I've heard, YouTube and Instagram is kind of where it's at.
Instagram, Facebook pays my bills, man. Facebook pays a lot. but over in the US, right? You guys get paid on all the platforms. We're just on TikTok. Canadians don't. We're here for free. We're having a good time, right? I've kind of pushed or started moving away from TikTok in the last few months, right? Like I don't put as much attention into it anymore. You know, my views are down because I don't put attention to it,
Hmm.
right? And I don't really care. I'm not really in it for the views anymore. I mean, I'm having fun again, right? And like for a while, I was like concentrated on those numbers, right? But Instagram, man, if it doesn't pop off over on TikTok, I throw it on Instagram or Facebook, and it does amazing. So like you know, like I you need to get on Instagram, man. It's a fun ride for sure.
You
And
know,
you know, I bet you'd have some people looking at you being like, man, we need to get this guy like you know some merch, some like Dirty Hands Clean Money merch or something, you know, or you got to start your own too. I think we were talking about that the other day.
yeah, dude, I'm definitely gonna have to hit you up for some advice because TikTok is all I really know and navigate. Um, uh, I'd like to do ideally YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. And you're kind of actually inspiring me right now to get more into it because, like you said, there's a lot of people on Instagram or YouTube that may not be on TikTok. Um, but yeah, I mean, especially now being out of work for a couple months with my ankle, I mean, I really have no reason not to try to do something like that.
You got all the time in the world, man. When do you know if you're going back or not? Like how long are you off
I
for?
I was originally told I can expect to be out of work for 3 months. Right now, it's been a little over a month. On the 12th, I go for a second follow up with my doctor, and we'll do some more X-rays, see how we're doing. So I'm hoping I'll get good news on the 12th, but I can expect another 6 weeks to 2 months probably.
Yeah, that's got to be hard, especially you know mentally, man. How does that fare weighing on you mentally? You know, because like
Oh
you know
man,
a lot of us as men, blue collar men, we base our entire identities or our entire lives like around our careers, right? Like we become one with the career, which may not always be a good thing, but like you know we become one with the career. And I know like if I'm off for like more than a week, you know, like I start feeling like a little shitty, right? And I got laid off once a few years ago, and I was like, I didn't want to get out of bed, but I needed to. I know what I needed to do to get out of the feeling like this, but I couldn't do it.
yeah. Oh, dude, I mean, mentally, I've always struggled with depression, anxiety. Um, I'm happiest when I'm working. I mean, I literally would prefer to be underground working than sitting here playing a video game. I don't mind it in small doses. I like having a few days off here and there, but as like you said, as a man, I don't feel complete if I'm not making money and working hard. It sucks, dude. I mean, it sucks. I don't know what else to say. It's just there's only so many video games I can play.
Yeah,
I'm not originally from here, so I don't have any family here. Um, it's been a battle, mentally for sure. And I still got another, probably 2 months to go. But I'm trying to stay busy. I'm actually writing a book right now on mining, which I have no excuse to not get done within a week. But still, I have a hard time finding that motivation, just because like I'll get depressed and I keep telling myself with 2 months off, that's so, even though I only have one leg, I can do so much. It's just, I struggle with the motivation. I'm trying to get onto it, but, I want to bite that motivation and do stuff. I want to write that book. There's a bunch of stuff I want to do, a couple of books I want to read, but, but yeah, I mean, mentally it's been a bitch, but I'm starting to kind of snap out of it, I think.
that's good, man. That's good. Yeah, man. You know, men's mental health. It's Men's Mental Health Month. It's June, right? And you know, if you need to talk or chat, you know where I'm at. We chat, you know, in the DMs, and you got my number now, so you know, text it whenever you need to, man. And you know, I've been there, you've been there. You know, we can only help each other through our experiences with it, right? And you know, anyone that's listening, reach out if you need someone, man. You know, I'd rather get a phone call at 2 in the morning saying, "Hey, man, I need to talk," rather than hearing about your your tragic passing a couple days later on social media or from a friend or family.
Yeah, I had a friend kill himself last year, and I've gotten plenty of 2 a.m. phone calls from him He was a very instrumental in my upbringing in underground mining. He was kind of one of the miners who took me under his wing. His name was John Carroll, a creature. This is actually a bracelet I made for him. But just one night he didn't call anybody and he took his own life, and it's devastating. I In underground mining, depression can be pretty common, and this is an aspect of it I don't really talk about. I can't make videos on depression, but I do want to try to do something to advocate, for miners and just in general blue collar guys, because guys have a hard time asking for help. They have a hard time admitting they need help. A lot of underground miners, like I said, struggle with depression. We go half the year not seeing the sun. Like during the winter, you may not see the sun for weeks at a time. So we're definitely prone to it. But I have been kind of thinking about making some type of videos just to advocate, like you said, call somebody, do something. Another underground miner who I knew, not as well as Creature, but a month ago, he took his own life. And I hadn't talked to him in a while. I'm not sure what he had going on. But still, I mean, like you said, I'd rather get that phone call at 2 a.m. and talk to you for a little while. I'll go over if I have to. But, guys, we're men. We're supposed to be tough. We're supposed to be leaders, and which we are. But it's okay to be vulnerable and ask for help and admit, like, I'm fucked up right now. Like, I need something. I wish more guys would do that. And I have a hard time doing it myself, so I can't really talk. I'm being kind of a hypocrite, but I tell people that too. If you need something, call me, dude. Text me. Day night, So I do wish guys did that more because, obviously, as you know, the suicide rate amongst men is definitely multiple times higher than, women. And guys have it pretty tough, dude. We have it tough, but people don't talk about it. Society doesn't really care about men, in my opinion.
Yep. Absolutely, man. So, hey, anyone listening, get in our DMs if you need it, man. It is Men's Mental Health Month, but this is a 365 issue, 7 days a week, and it doesn't matter if it's June, September, December, get at us, like you got Cory here who's, fucking alpha male under the ground, he's poking away at the dirt there, and me here, I'm 5'4". I'm not much, I'm just a short little guy, but like, man, I love everybody. Even if you've done me wrong, I fucking love you still, like I if we no longer talk, I still wish that you're okay. You know what I mean? If you need to talk and we don't talk, fucking reach out. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how if my dad and I haven't talked in years, and I know he's not doing well mentally, he can't, there's no fucking way. And if he reached out, text me, called me today, man, I'd be like, man, let's talk, dude. Cause like, I love the guy. He's my dad. Right? Yeah. But we just don't get along. We there's nothing there. Right. But there is love. There's love, but there's nothing there outside of that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we all have our differences. There's people who I don't particularly like, who I'm not friends with, but I don't want them to hurt themselves. I mean, they can call me, and I do everything in my power to help them. Like, I think you're a piece of shit person. I don't like you. I don't want to be friends with you. But that's on this side, and then on this side, all that goes out the window if he needs help.
Yeah. And who knows? Maybe he's a piece of shit person because he's crying out for help. Right?
True.
You never know, man. It's wild, dude. You were saying you guys sometimes don't see the sunlight for 6 months at a time or half the year. That would be rough, dude. That would be rough on a guy for sure, or a person anyway. That'd be pretty rough. What's it like down there for, do you get claustrophobic? Is anyone claustrophobic? You're going underground. How far underground do you go at times? What's the furthest underground you've been?
So typically in my videos, I'll say a mile. Most of the mines I've worked at, it's been either a mile or just shy of a mile. But rather than say 3/4 of a mile, whatever, I'll just say a mile. I'll round it up to a mile underground, but pretty much a mile. That's another thing too. People picture underground mining being, really small caves you got to crawl. We have F-150 pickup trucks down there. We've got huge equipment down there. If I'm standing on a road, I can't touch dirt. You can do jumping jacks, you can jump up. I mean, you could drive a pickup truck. It's basically an underground city. A lot of people don't really realize that. I tell people, no, we've got F-250s, F-350s.
Got a Tim Hortons down there.
What's that?
Got a Tim Hortons down there. Got a McDonald's.
I don't even know what that is, man.
Tim Hortons is a coffee shop. You got a McDonald's or what?
Oh, yeah, I got it. We do have a few black market, Red Bull sellers,
Black, hey bro, hey, like they come in with the trench coats. It's like, hey man, I got a Red Bull. I got a
essentially, yeah.
You want?
Yeah, it's like underground drug deals because a few mines don't allow energy drinks.
Really?
So, yeah, it's just because some mines are so hot, and you get dehydrated. We're sweating a lot. You typically will sweat out more than you're bringing in. So if it gets to the point where too many people are having heat exhaustion or heat strokes or just going down because they're hot and dehydrated, mines will step in and be like, all right, guys, you know what? If you can't police your own, we're not gonna let you have energy drinks anymore. So one of the mines I worked at, we actually had a guy who would his backpack was like a cooler, and he'd come down with Red Bulls and he'd sell Red Bulls. So in Alaska, a lot of the mines out there, you're on an island, and you don't go off the island. You stay in what's called a man camp. So once you get to the island, you're there for however long your shift is, 2 weeks, 20 days, 4 weeks. So that's where kind of business is booming as far as, selling chewing tobacco, stuff like that. You got guys who will go out there and they run short, a week on dip. They don't have enough dip to get through the last week or something like that. So that's where you kind of get that black market from.
Yeah, man. Oil and gas. We also work in man camps. We're out in the middle of the bush. Some of them are close to town, but a lot of them are like sometimes hours from town. Right? You're in a man camp. Got cooks, got maids. Fucking, you just go to work. You come back. Your bed's made. Food's made. You bag your lunch up. You go to work. Yada yada yada. Right? Same thing, man. And you know what? Same thing with the black market shit. 10 years ago, I guess, when I was in camp, you can't really smoke a joint in camp, oil and gas, no, like 10 years ago before it became legal in Canada, you couldn't even smoke a joint, couldn't have weed on you, right? A joint is like $5. I think some people were selling them for 20. I was like, here, I got a joint, $20, right? That's like $15 more. That's a $15, upsell, right? Like that's, you risk it for the biscuit, right? And and now when you think about it, like a joint, like fuck, that's that's nothing. It's not even illegal anymore, right? But a lot of camps are still, a lot of oil companies are like, hey, none of that, 100% zero tolerance for fucking drug and alcohol, right?
Yeah.
Now the camp I'm in, it's a moist camp. Most camps are dry. This one's a moist one. Sure. You can bring it in, keep it to yourself. If you're going to have a drink with a buddy, do it, but don't be an idiot. Don't be idiots about it. You know what I mean? And one or two, then have yourself go, one or two, go to sleep. Go away. Don't be, a lot of people break that rule. And there's been a couple times where they're like, hey, no more, get rid of that shit. And then everyone's like, oh, I'm sorry. And then it's like, well, all right, one more time. Right. And, I've been here for 6 years, and I think it's been beaten over the head. It's beaten over the head like 5 or 6 times with it now. So whatever. Yeah.
That's interesting. So I've only worked in one man camp in Alaska at the last mine I worked at. That's the one I quit to go start this new job right before I broke my ankle. But yeah, it was a dry camp, and underground miners especially, and I'm sure it's 100% the same in your line of work, but you look forward to that ice cold beer after work. And that was something that I kind of struggled with in the beginning because, I wanted a nice cold Coors Light after work. You can be going through the shittiest day, having, just a terrible time. But in the back of the mind, I'm going to have that cold beer after work. And that kind of gets you through it.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah. What's that?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, but I've never worked in any type of moist environment. And for people listening who may not know, so when you live in a man camp, there's dry camps and moist camps. Dry camps, you're not allowed to drink alcohol. Moist camps, you are, but it's usually relatively. They have rules and stuff like
Yeah.
2 beers a night, something like that.
Yeah, there's one in Fort Mac in Alberta here up north. It's where 1/3 of Canada's oil comes out of Fort Mac every day, right?
Really?
And oh yeah, that's where like the oil sands are and stuff. And you know, you got Syncrude and I think Suncor and Syncrude are the same now. But you got most of the big players are like they're up there, right? And you know, there's one camp I stayed at in Fort Mac that had a bar at it, and you know, you only 2 beers, 2 drink limit, and that's it. You're done, right? And you know, if you paid the waitress, I'm sure you know you get one extra one or whatever. But yeah, I don't drink, so I don't drink. I you know spare it's like sparsely or whatever. Like the last time I bought a bottle of Crown Royal Peach last summer, and I think there's still half of it left. Right, like I drink it. You know, when the guys are all out having a drink or whatever, and like my one of my coworkers' birthdays were the other night, pour one out for him, right? You know, like let's have one for him. Uh, you know, so stuff like that. Or when my wife and I are, you know, we're relaxing, we're by ourselves, and we're like, wow, you know, it's been really stressful today. The kids were extra like irritating. You know,
Mhm.
it's like, hey, fucking pour one. Let's have a drink together. You know, my wife and I, you know, we recently got, well, not recently, last summer we got stoned together for the first time. You know, we've been together for 20 years, right? And
Wow.
yeah, we've never done any of that, and you know, I've been waiting for her. You know, I wanted to try. We didn't smoke it or anything. We took an edible, and I've been waiting for her. Right, I wanted to do it with her for the first time. I had plenty of opportunities, but I wanted to be with her. And she just said to me one day after work, she's like, "Have you ever, have you ever wanted to like get high?" And I'm like, "Yeah, with you, but like, you know," she's like, "Go to the store right now. We have cannabis stores or dispensaries or whatever you want to call them." And she's like, "Go and get some edibles for us." I looked at the time; it closed at 10. It was 9:30. I'm like, "All right, I'll be right back." So I went and I got something, and it was 2.5%. Like it was 5%. We cut it in half. We each took half, right? And it was like 2.5%. Fucked us right up, right? My wife's got high anxiety, so like you know, she said for the first time, that little bit, for the first time, the voices in her head were gone, right? And me, I'm like sitting there just giggling, and like I couldn't lift my head or my arms. I'm like, you know, like we ordered Chinese food. Don't remember it getting there. Don't know if it got there or not. It was, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I went to bed and I had a great sleep, fantastic sleep. You know, and yeah, we did it. We've done it a couple times since then, but it's not like something we do like regularly. I think it's been twice since then. You know, like so. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome. I never really got into weed. I mean, I've tried it when I was younger, but a lot of, and I'm sure again it's the same in your industry. Mining attracts a lot of former military, a lot of veterans.
yep,
I know plenty who have PTSD, and in mining we get random drug tests.
yep, same.
Yeah, and you're not allowed, even though weed is completely legal here, you still can't have it in your system, and we're kind of trying to, and I'm sure we'll get there eventually, but a guy can get off work, catch a decent buzz, and come back to work the next morning and be completely fine, no alcohol in his system. But you should be able to go home, smoke a bowl. You're not going to be high when you come back to work in the morning. Weed helps a lot of people with PTSD, anxiety, depression. Um, yeah, I hope we get there eventually. I want people to be able to. I know guys who are hardworking, honest dudes who want to work in mining, but they won't because they know that they don't want to stop smoking weed. Because if they stop smoking weed, they're going to turn into a person they don't want to be. And
Yeah,
it's unfortunate that you have to just make that decision.
yeah, yeah. That's tough. Um, you were. I saw what's the other video I saw? Like you tell, I can't remember the wording you used, but you can tell which way the airflow is going
Uh-huh.
by doing
Oh,
something.
sure. Yeah. So in underground mining, we pretty much have, like, to simplify it, huge fans on the surface, and there's a vent bag attached to it. And we have miles of vent bag. If you turn that way, your vent bag's going to be going that way too. Your vent bag goes everywhere pretty much. And a lot of times you could be standing there and you can't really feel. So it's important to know your airflow, because if there's a fire, if if somebody calls a mayday and says there's a fire over here in area B, it's good to know, okay, if the fire's in area B, that airflow is going this way, and then it's going to turn there. Oh shit, it's coming right at me. Or if you know your flow, you could be like, okay, I'm good right here to stay here. There's a fan wrap on, XYZ. It's important, and it's something that a lot of people overlook and don't think about. But when I first got into mining, one of the old timers who was training me, he asked me, "Hey, if there was a fire here right now, where's the smoke going to go?" And I'm like, I don't know. And I smoked cigarettes at the time. He told me, light up a smoke. So I lit up a smoke, blew it out, and it goes that way. And I'm like, oh fuck, okay, so the airflow is going that way. And it's weird because in a lot of places you could be standing there, but you don't feel it. It's not like you feel the air coming this way. It's quiet. Sometimes it feels like the air is off. But I made a video pretty much explaining about kind of the importance of knowing your mine's airflow. All mines have maps available to the miners. You can look at it anytime something changes. They throw those out. They make whole new maps. They have a meeting about it. But I pretty much made a video saying that, and as a disclaimer, I told people in the video, don't start smoking, don't start vaping because of this.
Yeah.
But if you happen to vape, all you got to do is throw out a cloud of smoke and you'll see what your air is doing pretty much.
Yeah, that's fascinating, man. As a guy who works outside above ground, I don't have. Well, I do have to care about which way the air's flowing, just in case. We have an H2S, H2S scare. It's gas, poisonous gas. You probably have it underground. H2S, hydrogen sulfide. You probably have that too where you are, right?
Oh yeah,
it smells like rotten eggs. If you can smell it, it's too late. But we got wind socks everywhere, telling you which way the wind's going, and crosswind will always get you home, man. But like, oh, there we go. Yeah, sorry, I accidentally hit my mic. Crosswind will always get you home, right? But you always go, up. I think it's upwind. Shit, don't quote me on that. You go upwind, right? I believe.
So, you're saying if there was a fire?
Yeah, you go upwind, because if you go downwind, no, H2S. Downwind will fuck you up, right? Because that's where all the H2S is going. Downwind. You got to go upwind, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I look like an idiot there.
You got me confused out too. I'm pretty sure you want to go upwind of whatever's going on if you can.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's.
And if we're wrong, somebody will call us out on it.
Oh yeah, buddy. Podcast is listened to all over the world, man. It's fucking insane, and that's what I love about it, man. Blue collar workers all over the world, and I originally wanted to start out doing like oil and gas workers, right? But then that severely limits the podcast and the amazing conversations I can have. So I at its roots, the podcast is very oil and gas, right? We there's still a lot of oil and gas workers on, but like blue collar in general, right? The underground mining or mining in general is a lot very similar to oil and gas, and oil and gas, they do a lot of mining, right? Like drilling is pretty much the same thing. And in Alberta, the province I live in, there's a lot of mining that goes on here. There's up in Hinton area, there's lots of mines. I don't know what they mine for. What do you guys mine for?
I've only ever mined in a hard rock mine, so you have hard rock and coal pretty much. I've only ever mined gold, silver, and copper.
Okay, cool. And when you find gold, is it like really cool? Is it a big deal? Like, guys, I found gold. You gotta like shout it out to the top of your lungs, or what?
No, so nowadays we're going after the microscopic stuff that you can't even see. So in the old days, 1900s, they were going after what they could see. And a lot of times they didn't have the technology, or they didn't know that there's a lot of gold and all this dirt is just microscopic and you can't see it. So you do have mines where you can find actual free physical gold and you can hold it. But it's pretty rare. I've never been in a mine and actually seen gold. It's all microscopic. There's a lot of it there, but you can't see it.
Yeah. So they're still pretty profitable then, right? Like microscopic stuff, they're obviously finding a fuck ton of it.
Yeah, 100%. I'll probably butcher the number, but when I was new, somebody was explaining to me. So at the mine I worked at, we had 30-ton haul trucks. So you can hold roughly 30 tons of dirt in the back of the haul truck. And on a typical day, each haul truck would, let's just say, get 10 loads. So let's say you got 10 haul trucks who get 10 loads. Every load that haul truck took was $60,000 worth of gold in the back of it.
Wow.
And I forget the exact number, and it also depends on the mine and where you're working at. But let's just round it to 50. So every truckload that you're bringing up there is $50,000. So and it depends on obviously what the price of gold is and how much gold is there per ton. But yeah, so just to give you an idea, yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. Wow. I if you find like actual physical gold, you're not allowed to put it in your pocket. You probably get fired if you get caught, right? Like that's not
Well,
that's their property.
oh yeah, 100%. If you work in a mine where there's actual real physical gold, they typically they have some stuff in place, like they have metal detectors. They'll weigh you before work and weigh you after work. If you come into work weighing 160 and you leave weighing 164, 163, that's going to cause a red flag. So it's definitely, I have heard of people stealing gold. There's a mine here. Years ago, I heard a story about one of the miners there he would every day he would leave, he would have an open Pepsi can, and he would throw gold in the Pepsi can. And then as he's going through the metal detector, you empty your pockets, you put the Pepsi can with everything there that goes up. I don't know if it was X-rayed or what, but he was getting out of there. I think it was estimated he got out like $400,000 over the course of like 2 years or something like that.
Good for him.
Yeah, something like that. But like everybody else, or like a lot of people, they end up ratting themselves out. The guy's only making 100 grand a year, but all of a sudden he's driving a brand new car. People see him get a new house. It's not hard to add, two and two.
Yeah. Yeah. Same with the oil and gas, working in the oil sands. I did screw piling for a while, and they have a pit, an open pit mine that they've already dug out a little bit, and then we go down and we screw pile. We're going down further, and when the pile comes back up, sometimes, it brings up some of the oil sand with it, right? And I have a picture of it. I didn't take it home, but like I have a picture of it, and I was like, this is what people go to war over. This little piece of dirt, right? It's what people go to war over, and I posted it and people were like, "Oh, you better not have taken that home. You're gonna get fired, right? You're fired." And yeah, if you take any of it home, even the slightest little piece, they lose their shit, right? And it's like, oh yeah, that's not your property. Right? It's stealing. You can't take that.
Yeah, and at every mine, there's plenty of miners who will find cool looking rocks and stuff and take home. I definitely have a lot. Most mines don't care if you take, like a rock with quartz or just something that looks, fancy. I think every miner I've known has taken rocks home for their kids or just to put on their front porch. I got a little pretty cool collection. We're not working in a mine where, there's going to be an ounce of gold in that rock. So I mean, a lot of mines don't care. And if you're worried about it, a lot of mines have a property removal pass. All you got to do is take that rock, go to your boss and say, "Hey, I found this rock. Can I get a property removal pass? I want to take it home, give it to my kid." So you can go that route. But for the most part, you can throw a couple cool looking rocks in your backpack and go home and nobody's going to bat an eye.
That's cool, man. I like that. It's all about, you're down there, you're working for your kids, right? You're working for your family. Like, I just want to take this rock home. Oh, fuck, take it. Who cares, right?
Yeah, sure. Some of these rocks might be really cool to my son when he's older, or hopefully he'll have kids and one day his kids, he can show his kids, "Hey, this rock your grandpa got, from a mile under the earth." So I'm real big on like history. I like saving everything. I save my self rescuers when they go bad. I save, my old mine belts just because it's history. And
Yep.
One day my grandkids, great grandkids, they might not give a shit or it might really interest them. But I definitely try to save stuff.
Yeah. Are you married?
No. I'm divorced.
Okay, I was gonna say like yeah, like I was gonna ask, what's the what's the divorce rate in the mining world, but it's probably the same as what it is here, right? It's a lot of
Yeah,
it definitely being away a lot, and the lifestyle. If you're having cracks, if there's cracks in your relationship or having issues or whatever, it definitely exposes them a lot more, right?
oh, sure, 100%. Yeah, especially, a lot of mines are in or near small towns where everybody knows everybody. Um, a lot of, I've referred to one mine I worked at as, the hair salon, just because it's just rumors and rumors, and you hear, so in one of the mines I worked at was outside of Winnemucca, Nevada, which was a small town, and immediately when I worked there, somebody said, "Hey, don't are you from here? Or where do you live? Okay, don't date a chick from Winnemucca." And okay, all right, But then somebody else told me that, and somebody else told me that, and then everybody unanimously would say, "Stay away from Winnemucca women." And it's just small town, and like with a lot of industries, I would hear stories about this guy getting cheated on, this girl getting cheated on. Some girl will start working at the mine and ends up cheating on her husband. It's just it's like in the industry, it's just full of drama and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah, man. It's wild, dude. Yeah, there's a lot of that here too. Hey, do you know what viscosity is?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know what it is, but I couldn't explain it without sounding kind of dumb.
So I'll explain it in your words, and we'll go from there. But
Well, viscosity is basically just like a measurement of how heavy it is, right, or something like that.
yeah, how thick or heavy a liquid would be, or not heavy it would be. It could be thin, it could be a small viscous, it could be very viscous, it could be not be very viscous at all. So where I'm going with it is the podcast is sponsored by the Mudman, right? The Mudman, he deals in measuring the viscousness or the viscosity of the drilling fluid going downhole when the rig is when the rig's doing its thing. He measures the thickness of your load, right? And man, fuck that turns some people on, I guess. But like, he's taking all the guesswork out with back in the day they used to like, yeah, that looks about right, and he's made it all digital and taking the guesswork out of it, and it's really cool, and there's some safety features in there. So yeah, check out www.mudmarket.com and for all your drilling fluid and laboratory testing equipment needs.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested. I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, check him out, man. He's a solid individual. He's the reason why this podcast has a mic and a headset, and probably and definitely the reason why probably this will be one of the last episodes recorded on my cell phone. We're upgrading here equipment very soon. Shout out to the Mudman for that. I'm getting a laptop. I'm getting a computer that will allow me to do that, so I can get off the phone and just do everything on a computer like most people do these days. Like a laptop. Most people are on their phones, but like when they're doing podcasts, this thing has like an incredible camera on it, has 7 or 8 ports, so I can hook up all my equipment into it. Man, I'm excited for it, and it's gonna be quicker and faster to do some editing. I didn't have any use for editing the podcast back in the day. Who cares? I still don't do a lot of it, but there are times where it's like, man, I should really get on editing something, right? And I don't do it mainly because the laptop I have now, it's old. It's like 10 years old. It takes forever to load. It's horrible. It takes hours to do anything. This was going to take all that away. So shout out to the Mudman. Hopefully this is one of the last episodes recorded on my cell phone. So yeah.
That's awesome, man. I'm excited for you. You're definitely evolving and getting bigger and bigger.
I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying where this is going. Enjoying the process. Brasco Safety's coming on board. We're recording a podcast with them here soon. They're gonna hook me and my followers up with a discount code for PPE. Like if you want new work boots or gloves or whatever you want, vests, high vis gear, coveralls, bibs, whatever PPE you want or need. Brasco Safety, they're coming on board, and they ship nationally, internationally. They ship across the U.S., like across Canada, and I'd assume eventually overseas. So I'm excited to have that, because what's the most expensive part of our jobs? Like, what costs us the most? What is the most important part of our job?
Yeah, I mean, the stuff that goes on our body that keeps us safe.
The mainly the work boots. They're the most expensive part, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
sure. Yeah,
I don't
500
know
bucks. Or,
if you've yeah, I don't know if you've ever seen your steel toe boots after the end of their life, right? But usually there's holes in them. They're beat up. That could be your feet, right?
yeah,
Your feet could. You look at that boot, and that boot is a perfect representation of what your feet could look like if it wasn't for those boots, right? So, I'm excited to help my followers and whoever listens save a little bit of money on one of quite possibly the most important part of their PPE.
yeah. When it comes to PPE, man, I don't cheap out. I don't get the cheapest item I can find. Um,
Yeah,
it's the same with a lot of different aspects of my life. If my life and safety is in its hands, I want the best that I can afford to buy. And if I can't afford to buy the best right now, I'll sell something. I'll save up money, whatever. I if it's gonna help keep me safe, keep me alive, I definitely will spend the extra dollar and get good stuff.
yeah, exactly, man. Like, I think the most I've ever spent on boots is like $300, right? And it's like you're just like, oh man, that's pricey. But your feet got to be comfortable. You're on them all day or all night. You're there. They're protecting your feet. In my case, I work on a vac truck. I'm in tanks. They're keeping my feet dry, right, and warm because I'm outside and minus 50, minus 40, and I'm very much
Oh,
always
yeah.
under like a liquid, right? So it's very crucial, so the $300, like, whatever, yeah, I gotta spend it. And if you think about it, $300 on boots, you go to work for one day, you're making that back.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
like I said, man, I'm kind of like a gear nerd. I love going shopping for boots, and your feet. Thank you. Our feet is what gets us to work and gets us home. So why wouldn't you want to get the best that you possibly can?
Amen to that. Amen to that. So yeah, I'm pretty excited for Brasco, and we're working on other things too, right? I don't know if you saw the ad I put up for Original Joe's. I put it up on TikTok yesterday. I took my family out for dinner, and it was on Original Joe's. Picked up the tab on that. They, it was a paid advertisement over on Instagram. I wasn't sure how to tag them in it as a paid advertisement on TikTok, but it was a paid advertisement, and it was a lot of fun to do. My wife and my kids and we got to go out for a dinner. We got to go out. My wife didn't have to cook. I didn't have to eat camp food. It was amazing. They created a date night essentially for us, and it was a nice night out.
That's awesome, dude. I'm excited to see where all this goes, man.
Yeah, me too, man. I'm pumped. Where do you want to see this go for yourself? Like, where do you hope it goes? Where's your, I don't know if you want to look that far. What's your 5-year outlook?
To be honest, man, I've already met my goals. I was able to help people get jobs in this industry, so everything after that is just going to be a bonus. But I really don't know. I hope I can continue making videos and work for a cool line manager who will let me do it. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't have any official sponsors or anything like that. Their Wisdom cap lamps is the most popular cap lamp. Um, they reached out to me a couple years ago, and they would send me cap lamps to give out to people at the mine, send me stickers, t-shirts, stuff like that. So no official like sponsorships or anything. Also, I do get a lot of emails from different places wanting me to, wanting to send me free stuff to open it up and do videos on it. And if somebody can come to me with an actual legitimate, awesome product that I think miners will like or will keep them safe, I'll promote it for free if it'll keep my brothers safe. But unfortunately, all the people who reach out to me is usually just cheap Chinese bullshit. Um, yeah, so I don't ever. I've only ever pitched two products: the Wisdom cap lamps, and then I don't know if you saw any of my videos with the glow in the dark stickers on my helmet or on my hard hat. But
I
there's
didn't see that.
there's a company, a former firefighter makes just really super cool industrial strength stickers, and you can get custom made. Like I got one custom made, with my name, just Cory. Um, I'll definitely give you that info after the show, and you should definitely check out his website.
Definitely.
He makes some
Yeah,
awesome stuff.
I need stickers too like that. My hard hat stickers that we got made, I got them made in Norway, and
Really?
like yeah, and they were really good quality. And I deal with all the oil field chemicals I deal with, right? So like usually wears my stickers down pretty good. The one from Norway was on there for like a year and a bit before it started taking a beating, and I thought that was crazy, just amazing. And then I got different ones made from a local place, and it was off within a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah.
And so yeah, yeah.
With that particular sticker company, this isn't a deal where they reached out to me. A coworker years ago, I don't know how he found out about the website, but he found out about it. He ordered some, and he gave me one, and I didn't think anything of it. I put it on my hard hat, and a year and a half, 2 years later, it's still there. It's a little bit dirty, but every other sticker I had on my hard hat was gone by then, but that glow in the dark one was still there. So that kind of sparked my interest. So I ordered some more stuff. Put it, and you can order sheets that you can cut to whatever size you want, whatever length. So I would cut little sections to put on my self rescuer, different parts of my hard hat, mine belt. And I was so impressed with that product that I reached out to them, and I didn't ask for anything. All I said was, hey, if it's cool with you, my name is Cory Rockwell. I have a underground mining TikTok channel. I've been using your product for years. I really like it. I enjoy it. I think miners can benefit from it. I'm going to make a video to promote your website and your company. Is there anything you'd like me to add in it or say, or and also to kind of get their blessing to do it. And, come to find out, super cool guy, a retired firefighter. He actually designed those stickers for firefighters. It's some type of material that you can see it in thick smoke. And people have told me they've seen me walking down a tunnel before they can see my reflective, before they can even see my light, they see the glow of that sticker. So,
Wow.
yeah, so I reached out to him, and since then, anytime I need something, I'll hit him up, and he'll send me out some stuff once in a while. But yeah, again, not like an official thing, just kind of an unofficial sponsorship, I guess you could say.
That's pretty cool, man. Nonetheless, I don't think any of us really got into this with the hopes of making money off of it or getting sponsorships. We got into it for, exposure. We wanted exposure. We wanted to expose, the highlights, and like we talked about at the beginning, we wanted to, draw interest to our respective industries, right? We got into it for that. And we're tired of fucking being shorthanded, right? So it's like, hey guys, let's go, right? So we got into it for that, and what came along with it, man, I could never have foreseen coming. I'm blown away, dude. Blown away. It's still surreal. I'm still standing beside myself every day as this is happening, right? As it's playing out in front of me, I'm just like, wow, that moment just fucking happened, man. I'm sitting here. Like, if you would have told me a year and a bit ago that I would still be doing this podcast, or I would have had a podcast, if you would have told me 2 years ago I would have had a podcast, I would have shut up. But like a year ago, if you would have told me that I'd still be doing this and the conversations would be getting better and better, and we'd have sponsors, and this would turn into something, I wouldn't believe you. No way, man. Like, this is a dream.
Oh, absolutely, man. When I first started making my TikTok videos, I had no idea that in 2 years I'd be on the front page of a newspaper or in a mining magazine. I've done a handful of interviews for pretty reputable places, and it's been a wild ride. I mean, I would have told you were crazy if you ever told me I'd be on the front page of a newspaper. I mean, who the fuck am I? I'm just a normal, socially awkward guy. I mean, but. Yeah, I honestly, what I was going to say earlier, man, I honestly think we're making history, and we probably don't fully realize it because we're at the beginning of this social media blue collar era where, I'm the face of mining, you're the face of the oil field. We got on at a good time, and we're kind of breaking down some walls for our blue collar industries to get people in them. And I honestly think, somebody once told me, an MSHA inspector I met, during one of his inspections at the mine I worked at, he told me that I never met him before, but he knew of me. He actually didn't know I worked there, but somebody had called me on the radio, and he heard that on, he was walking around with the shift supervisor, and he heard somebody call me, and he said, "Oh, Cory Rockwell, is that the guy who makes videos?" Yeah. So he was like, "Oh, dude, I'd like to meet him if I could." And I met him. He shook my hand. He told me he appreciated what I was doing. I was promoting the industry in a good light, and I was pretty honored. He told me, he said, "You know what? You're I forget his exact words.
Pioneer."
But, not just that, but you're pretty much finding the next generation of miners. I forget exactly or influencing or something like that. I forget the word he used, but pretty much he said my channel, my videos is getting the next generation of miners. I'll think of it later. I forget the exact word he used, but it just made me feel good. I think a lot of the things me and you are doing and other people like us, the full effects of it won't be seen for a while, but will go down in history, I think, as far as social media, blue collar.
Fuck yeah. That's huge, dude. We're pioneers at what we're doing, and that's incredible. I was born in 89, and I grew up in the 90s, and fucking, I guess I was a pioneer when it fucking came to the internet. They used my generation as a lab rat, and cell phones, they used my generation as a lab rat for that. And you could say, it's we're born at the right time, dude. How old are you?
I actually just hit 40 in March, so I was born in 84.
Good for you, man. I'm 5 years younger than you. So my brother's the same age as you, and man, so 40, you'd be what, beginning of the beginning? You'd be an elder millennial. You'd be beginning of the millennials, into the Gen X.
Yeah, something like that. I don't really know for sure.
Yeah, man, that's incredible, dude. Like, who said you couldn't teach an old dog new tricks, right?
Yeah, dude. Our generation was there before all this, and there for the beginning of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, our whole generation is. I honestly think that our generation, 80s and 90s and early 2000s, that was, especially the 90s, that was the greatest time to be alive, I think, man. We were there for the beginning of everything. Internet, computers, cell phones. I remember back in the day having to drive through Los Angeles, California. You'd have to go online and map quest what you want, get directions. And even before that, when you didn't have the internet, you'd have to buy what my dad had was called a Thomas guide, and it would show, all of Los Angeles, all of California. So I remember trying to drive to a job interview one time in LA, and I got lost. And you got to find a place to pull over. And before you can even find a place to pull over, you got to make all sorts of turns to find a place.
Yeah.
I'd have to get out, see what that street is, see what that street is, get this address, go through the book. A half hour later, find where I am, map out where I got to go. And nowadays you just, talk to text the address and you're golden. Kids nowadays, they'll have no idea what we went through and how stuff was before all this stuff.
Oh shit. Dude, it was wild. And I did the same thing for my dad. My dad had his own construction business, and we'd be like in many different towns. He'd have many of those atlas books, like they're thick. Southwestern Ontario, Northwestern Ontario, Southern Ontario, Eastern Ontario. And so he'd have all these map books for all these areas. And, you had to look in the guide at the back to find out, okay, this town is on this page, right? So you go to that page, and then if you weren't holding the book right, Dad, we're on that street. Okay, turn. Oh, I'm not holding the book right. Turn left, right? You turn left, and you go that way for a fuck ton of time, and you look, you're like, oh, we were supposed to make a right back there, Dad. Like, we were supposed to make a right back at that intersection. Find a place to turn around and go back that way. And then, half hour go by, you're going back that way, and you start looking at the addresses, like, okay, yeah, oh yeah, we're in the right spot. It's gonna be up here on this side, right? It would take like a fucking hour to figure that out. Right now, it's like adventure. Yeah, now it's like, hey Siri, hey, where's this address? And then boom, pops up. Remember MapQuest? You had to print off the map. Yeah. Oh, dude. Oh shit. What a time to be alive.
Dude, this stuff is great, man, but I got to be honest with you, and it's not just our country, but if the shit ever hits the fan and we've got like our power grid goes down, we're fucked, dude, because all these generations coming up, they don't know what a map is. They don't, the technology is an awesome thing and it's helping us, but it's also going to hurt us. It's going to bite us in the ass. I think, have you ever heard that saying, I don't want to butcher it. Weak men create hard times create strong men create weak time. I forget how it
Yes.
goes.
Yeah, it's hard times create strong men create good times
Good
create
time, yeah,
weak men create hard times. And right
yeah,
now we're in weak men creating hard times. Well, that will bring on hard times create good strong men, right? So
yeah,
we're gonna get back to that again, right? But it'll take a few generations, right? I don't know if you know who Chase Barber is, but he says you know, nobody's built anything in this country since our grandparents retired. Our infrastructure's gone to shit. Our grandparents built everything, they retired, they fucked off, everything went to shit, and now everything's falling apart. Right? He Chase Barber owns a Edison Motors, and he's building hybrid electric trucks and like semis and a rig right now. And he's doing phenomenal stuff. Edison Motors, look that up on TikTok and Instagram, man. His shit will blow you away. And he was on the podcast. We talk all the time, and he has his own podcast too. But he went over to China. Him and his business partners all went over to China, and he's like, man, our government's honey dicking us. China, they see China's this horrible country and this communist country, and he's like, fuck, you go over there, man. They're fucking so far ahead of the times. It's
yeah.
ridiculous. It took them like 2 weeks to build this mega project bridge, where it would have taken us like 4 years.
Oh, dude, I know.
Yeah, yeah, and sure they've got the population, but they get on it. They're like, get this done, let's go now, right? Like, and on this podcast they were talking about, this was last year now, talking about how that, remember, hearing about how in China you were told it was the one child rule for a long time.
Yeah.
Like only one kid, that's it. That's bullshit, right? It was, if you worked in the government, it was encouraged. Hey, if you have one kid, keep it at that. But you can have more if you want to. If you have more than one kid, you're not gonna move up in the government ladder, the bureaucracy ladder, whatever the hell you want to call it. But the general population, have as many fucking kids as you want. Hog wild, man. If you can't keep your clothes on and you just want to fuck like rabbits all the time, knock yourselves out, right? Have as many as you want. Man, I'm like, the Chinese government's honey dicking us, bro. And he's like, no, it's our government honey dicking us, right? There's a reason why they want to ban TikTok. There's a reason why, China's the enemy, right? Listen, if they're so worried about security and shit like that from TikTok, I don't know if you watched the senators talk about all the shit that was wrong with TikTok, but all those things that were going on with public safety and the trends that were killing people all originated on Facebook.
Oh, I'm sure. I never really dove into this, but I 100% believe that.
Yeah, it's wild, man. It's fucking wild. Yeah. I don't want to get into that though.
That's a rabbit hole.
Yeah, that's a rabbit hole. We could go on. We could have a whole other show about that.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. Do you have any? We're gonna wrap this up here a little bit. It's getting late and whatnot. I don't want to keep you too long, and I have a couple of things I want to ask you though. Do you have any tips or tricks or whatever advice for the younger generation that might want to get into mining, that what should they know beforehand? What's some good advice coming from a veteran, from a journeyman?
I do make tip videos. I also have a series called New Miner Tips, and as I think of stuff, it could be something a little silly, something huge, but I don't know if there's really one specific like go-to piece of advice I give people. I'm kind of drawing a blank right now. You put me on the spot, but I just I've always told people mining a lot like with your industry and a lot of blue collar industries, mining attracts a certain breed of individual and it keeps a certain breed of individual. Our industries will weed out the people we don't want there for the most part. But be a good dude and work hard, be honest. I tell a lot of new guys, go slow. We're all going to fuck up. And especially in mining, you're going to damage equipment. You're going to fuck up. Just, own it, learn from it and move on. But yeah, just,
equipment.
Yeah.
I'm good at that.
Yeah. Yes. Some of the best people I've ever met in my entire life have been underground miners and various other blue collar guys. And I'm proud to call myself an underground miner and a blue collar guy.
That's I love that. I love that, man. Hey, where can people find you on the socials? Like, I guess TikTok and YouTube. Where can they? And hopefully soon to be Instagram.
Hopefully,
What's
yeah.
your handle over there?
So pretty much all my social media is simple, just my real name, Cory Rockwell. My Instagram, my Facebook are private, more kind of family oriented. They're not public. But I'm actually, now that you kind of sparked my interest, I think I want to try Instagram, and I'll make a public one. So pretty much, TikTok is 98% of my time. I do have some videos on YouTube. I'm not as active on YouTube, but hopefully I want to start getting pretty active on it. But for the most part, just TikTok and then YouTube right now.
Hell yeah, man. That's awesome. That's awesome, man. I hope we can expand those numbers more than they already are. Like get some people that listen to this podcast interested in mining, or like a lot of people, they don't have to be interested in mining. You're blue collar. We have a lot of the same lifestyles and interests, right? So they like, I'm going to follow for that rule alone, right? And yeah, hopefully we can get that going, a little bit. And I love that, dude. I love that. I can't wait till this one comes out. Just as it's been going, I've learned, as the podcast progresses on, not just this episode, but every episode as it progresses, I've learned to listen back as I go, as we're speaking. I can kind of compute what was said and how it's all coming across as we go. And man, this one's going to be a lot of fun. I can already tell. And I'm going to listen to it back probably 3 or 4 times before it even comes out. I'll download it tonight onto my phone. I'll listen to it on the way to work tomorrow or at work tomorrow. And then I'll pick out, like teaser trailers, like I'll be like, all right, hey, that's a good clip. Let's put it out. Let's spark some interest. And then spend a whole week, just trying to get interest in the episode. It drops. That first 24 hours is crucial, right? And then I'll push it out everywhere, and then for the next like 3-4 days I'll push it out more, and then I start pushing the next week's episode on a Saturday, right? So yeah, it's I have a system, man, and
Yeah.
and it's kind of helped me out, like I don't plan an episode. I don't think of what we're going to talk about. I kind of have a general idea because I know who you are and I've watched it, but there's so many side trails to take as we go on, right? In an episode,
Sure, yeah.
right? If we just got to, hey, this is Cory, he's an underground miner, let's talk about mining, we'd only be talking for half an hour, right? But we can go for 2-3 hours sometimes because oh shit, you said something about Pokemon. Oh fuck, man, I love Pokemon. Let's talk about Pokemon, right? You said something about a movie or a pop culture reference. Let's take it that route, and very easily you go off on all these little side trails. You're hiking, right? You're going on a hike. You're hiking down this trail. You see another trail, you take it, right? And that's what the podcast is, man. And I love it.
Yeah, and that's honestly the way to go, man. The more I think, the more I overthink, and the more I butcher it. Some of the videos that I've put so much effort and time and thought into making a video, and it flops. But the videos, just a dumb video. Oh shoot, let me record that real quick. 2 million views. Like it, and it's also important, like what you were telling me is to have a system. You can't just upload it. Like you got to understand the traffic of social media. I've done a lot of researching into different algorithms of just life and social media and people's attention spans and stuff like that. So it's none of us are experts at it. We're learning as we go, but it's definitely good to get some kind of foundation and system going.
Absolutely, buddy. I won't post a video about fucking, in the middle of my work day. I'm not going to post a video, when no one's around to watch it, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm going to post a video about my work day at 6 o'clock when everyone's getting off. They're, if they're on like a mining bus. I don't know if you guys take buses to the surface or not, but
some mines.
Yeah, and then in camp, everyone's getting on the bus. They're going back to camp or the surface. They're all on their phones. They're like, all right, what did I miss today? Well, perfect time to drop. Everyone's coming on their phone right now. Boom. Mm-hmm. Or half hour time frame, either a half hour before, half hour after, right? But within that hour or so, there's a science to it, man, and it's
Oh,
fun.
sure.
And when the algorithm changes, you got to learn that science all over again. Hey, isn't that irritating sometimes? The algorithm changed. All right, let's
Yeah.
figure it out. It's irritating, but it's also fun. It's part of the game.
Yeah, it can be entertaining. On TikTok, you can track a bunch of different stuff. I know what percentage of my audience are male, female.
Yep.
I know their age range, what
Where
time
they're
of day
from.
they, yeah, what
Yep.
time of day they watch videos the most. And I originally thought if you upload something on a Friday night or Saturday night, it'll get huge because everybody's off work. They're off work, but they're busy enjoying their weekend.
Yep.
I found that most of my videos get the most traffic on a weekday later in the evening after they get off work, when
Yep.
people want to get on their phone and decompress for a little while. Because on the weekend, I'm not on my phone a lot on the weekend. I'm having fun with my kid. I'm doing stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely something you really got to think about and learn.
Absolutely, buddy. I got one last question for you before we wrap it up, and I usually like to end it with Mount Rushmore has four of the most influential people up on the rock, right? That have four most influential leaders, right? If you could have your own Mount Rushmore with four people that you look up to, inspire to be, or that inspired you, who would they be and why?
Oh man, that's a really awesome question. That's something I would. I mean, I can throw some names out there, but so you're not just saying people I've worked with, just people who have been influential in my life.
Yeah, real, not real, dead, alive, people you work with, people that you haven't worked with. Like what makes Cory get up in the morning and what motivates him. Like what who do you look up to and what drives you?
God, man, that is such an awesome but tough question.
Yeah,
I think my sister and my mom would be two of them. Um, maybe Creature John Carroll, my friend who took me under his wing in the mining industry. Did you say four or five?
four. You can go
Four.
ahead. Fuck, you can have as many as you want to, man. I don't care. Just top
I
four, fucking
I
top
got
five. Who cares?
I got to be honest. The three toughest females I've ever met: my mom, my sister, and my grandma. I think would be up there for sure. And
Shout out
and
to
that
grandma.
yeah, and that was kind of cool because I got to learn from kind of three different generations of female, and I part of the reasons I think I'm a good dude today, and it's pretty much thanks to them and their kind of upbringing. But yeah, let's just go with that. My sister, my mom, my grandma, and Creature. I think would be up there.
Hell yeah, man. That's huge, dude. You show me the four people you look up to, and it tells me so much about you.
Yeah, it's awesome how you can ask people certain questions, and like I said, it tells you more than they realize it. You know what I mean?
Oh, dude. Yeah, yeah, even they more than they even realize, right? Like, yeah, it's a lot of fun hearing some of the answers that come out of people for sure.
Dude, I've never even heard that question be asked, man. I'm actually going to use that one, dude.
Do it. Do it, man. I heard it from my boss. My boss did it in orientation like 10 years ago. He's like, "Hey, who do you look up to? If you could have your own Mount Rushmore, who would be up there?" And my answers changed a lot over the years, right? My answers changed a few times. As I evolve as a person, as a man, as a human, as a father, as a husband, my answer changes a lot, right?
Sure,
But
yeah, I can see that.
what's that?
Oh, sorry, no, I was just saying I was agreeing with you. I can see that
Oh,
how it changes.
yeah.
We're constantly evolving.
Yeah, man, and I think as you constantly evolve, the people that are up there now probably won't be up there. The next time someone major comes into my life and influences it, and it's like that, like Oprah says, it's like that aha moment. Like, hey, what was your aha moment, right? And
Yeah,
we all have a bunch of them, right? But my next aha moment, my rock is so fucking like incredible the way it is, like you know the next aha moment is gonna be tough choosing who to take off there. Or maybe
yeah,
I just add, because the original Mount Rushmore was supposed to have more, right? The guy that made Mount Rushmore, go Google it, go Wikipedia it or whatever. He went off to fight in I don't know if it was World War I or World War II, but he went off to fight in one of the wars, and I believe he died in the war. And his son, they wanted to put more up there if they had time, but his son decided that, hey, nobody that has come after these four people equal or add up to those four people. No one that has come into, politics or whatever since deserves to be up there, right? So, Mount Rushmore, your Mount Rushmore could have as many people as you want on it, right? If you find that more people deserve a spot on your rock, fucking add them, right? If less people deserve a spot on the rock, take one away. Who knows? It's your rock is your rock.
Yeah, dude, that's so cool, man. Like,
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to steal that one, dude. That really is an awesome, and also you just sparked my interest in Mount Rushmore. I definitely want to look into that story, the history behind it.
I live so close to Mount Rushmore where I'm at. I'm only like a 15-hour drive or something like that away from it. And I'm going to be so close to it this summer. I'm driving by it. My bucket list is to like go to Mount Rushmore. I don't know why I've never done it. Right. I might try to sneak it into the trip that I'm taking this summer, but man, like to go to Mount Rushmore, a lot of people say like, oh yeah, once you get there, it's not as cool. But I want to figure that out on my own. Right?
Yeah, sure.
It could mean less to me or more to me than it does to you. It doesn't. It's all about a matter of perspective, right? Like, oh, I don't like ice cream sandwiches; they're not that great. Well, like, fuck you, they're amazing, right? Like, so yeah.
Yeah, I've had people tell me, don't go work at this place. They suck. They screw you over. They don't take care of you. Well, maybe you just had a bad experience. I'll take what people say, but I throw a couple grains of salt in there, and I got to find out for myself pretty much.
Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. Buddy, this has been fun. And I thank you for like being generous with your time and coming and hanging out and having a good conversation. And I'm excited for this one to go up, man. And it'll be a couple of weeks. I think this one will be like end of June, like the last Tuesday in June. So yeah, man, if you're listening to this now, hey, it's July long weekend, pretty much, baby. What's up?
Yeah, dude. I'll text you. If you can get some footage to me of some like snippets or something like that, I can make a video on my TikTok channel to help promote your channel and the podcast and stuff.
Absolutely, man. I'll definitely do that. I got my TikTok podcast page is actually On the Throne Podcast on TikTok, and that's where I usually I throw the videos up there, and I throw them up on Instagram, and I throw them up on Facebook, and I throw them everywhere, right? And I drive traffic all over the internet for everything. Everything I do, I go all out. I go all out. I'm all over the internet. If you follow me everywhere, you see the same shit, and I'm not even sorry about it. Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. I can't wait to see what the future holds for both of us.
Oh, dude, I'm excited. I'm excited where this goes. Wherever it goes, I'm here. I'm hanging on for the ride, man. It's like a bucking bowl or whatever, one of those, mechanical bowl things, but a real one, with the string actually tied to the nuts, right? You're just hanging on. Yeah. You're like, you never know when that ride comes to an end. It's good. It's been pretty wild.
Yeah. It's been a wild ride.
Absolutely, buddy. Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, dude. It's been fun talking to you, man. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. Hey, stay frosty.
All right, I'll try.
Fuck, I love this music.
Who sings this?